All right, so now I'm gonna do a, we have the more three-dimensional jack-o'-lantern on the left. We're gonna do a more simple jack-o'-lantern face that looks like this one on the right, which I actually love. And you can do variations of that, like however you would, those are more like how you would actually carve your pumpkin. And we're just going to do it in black for now. I think I'll do another video where I show how you can add yellow accents to this, like the fire, when the jack-o'-lantern's lit up. But for now, we're just going to do this, this basic jack-o'-lantern face. And I'm going to do, again, double duty. This one's going to have another face on the back of it. So, like this is the three on this side. I'm going to skip one and make this face on the three sections on the back. Okay, and I don't know, you could see that if I put it too much out of shot, but I'm gonna do basically the same thing. This is the way I like to carve like the classic jack-o'-lantern, is these right side up triangles and then upside down triangle for the nose, and then we'll do a kind of a smiley jagged face with teeth. And you can, like I said, I think this is a great way to do a face the way you would do your jack-o'-lantern. So first I'm gonna mark out where I want all these to go. You could, depending on your pumpkin, you could see that on this one I started putting them into the separate section, but that seemed too far away. So I'm actually gonna I'm gonna go a little bit into the middle, even for the eye. And depending how wide these are, I mean, you could even make the center of the triangle go up to the middle, but then they might wind up too close together. So it really depends on how wide your sections are on your pumpkin. So just mark them first and see if that looks about right. Now it might be hard to see on this pumpkin because it's not like a solid color orange. But I'm going to actually do these eyes before I mark the nose, because I think that might change where I put it once it looks finished. So I'm going to take little bits of black and put it in those little triangles that I marked. And if you want this, I want this to be pretty precise. So I'm doing my technique where I slightly angle the needle toward the center of the triangle, and I do the edges first. Get them nice and precise. And this should be pretty easy to do given that you marked it. You see how that, okay, so I say this every time and then you can see it happen sometimes. That wound up a lot smaller than I thought it was gonna be because there was some mushier, right? So as I poke it in, it's getting much smaller than I intended it to be. So I always say, make sure that your surface is firmed up, and that's gonna be true with this too, but if this happens, I'm just going to show you, then I'm just going to go do it again and make it a little bigger this time. And that's okay too. You're just going to wind up, you just use more of your colored dyed wool that way. It's okay. So, and you want this to be, because it's a cutout or simulating a carved pumpkin, you want it to be a little bit recessed in there anyway, so that's okay. And then I'm going to do the other one now. And then same thing, I'm going to angle the needle in toward the center of that triangle, going along the whole edge first, and then poking all over. And I just want to, you know, double check my markings. I want these, if I'm making, see on this one how it's kind of level, you could, just so you know, you could change these a little bit, and I can make, I'm just going to even adjust this now. This started as just straight triangles, but I can even now curve this, make a little curve, a little smilier if I curve the bottom under the eye. You see that? I'm like poking the corners down a little bit and curving that. So it makes it look a little happier. But anyway, to start, you want to make sure that those are at the same level. I mean, hopefully when you marked it, you saw that, but you see it better now that you add the color. And these eyes are a little close together, so maybe having them be in the separate sections is a safer bet. And I'm missing a little bit in the corner there. That's another thing you could do. We're going to talk about different shapes, and maybe I'll draw some out. You can also, that's what we could do with the yellow, is kind of make a little shape cut out in there afterwards. So we have 2 weeks of working on jack-o'-lantern, so I think for this week I'll have like your basic, whoops, this one's the one I didn't finish, and I'm saving it to finish in class on the live Zoom. But we'll do, I saw the word, I've been calling these like humanoid, but anthropomorphic is a good word for kind of like putting a human-ish face on a pumpkin. Whereas this is more of like an actual carved jack-o'-lantern face, so we can see what we have time for in Zoom. We never quite have time for everything. That's why I give you these video options. And then we'll kind of figure out what else we want to do the following week, depending on what we get to. I'm going to add, you can see this one came out a little bigger, and I like that one better. If I liked the smaller one better, I could shrink that one down, but I'm going bigger here. And then I think some people make the nose going up too, which is kind of more nose shape. I don't know why I like to flip it. I'm going to do that, but just so you know, you can go however you, like I said, however you like to do jack-o'-lantern faces. You consider to be a classic jack-o'-lantern face will work. And you know how I usually make eyes curved like an eyeball? I want it to be recessed and kind of flat. I guess it doesn't matter because it's really supposed to be nothingness, but I like it. We don't want it to be, I just want it to be recessed. Have kind of sharp edges like we cut it. Okay, and then I'm going to mark an upside down triangle. I mean, I don't know what else people do. People maybe do like maybe I'll try something a little different. I'll make like an upside down triangle that's skinny. See how that looks, like a different shaped triangle, because I think on this one I did basically the same triangle but upside down. So making a much skinnier triangle this time. See how that looks. I can always change it. I'm not sure I like that. Let's just stick with that for now. And then, so another thing to remember on these, this pumpkin, I don't have, it's maybe good to do these on a tall pumpkin or a little bigger, or just pace yourself and make sure. You might want to, I'm kind of just going eyes, nose, mouth, but you might want to mark it all out so that you make sure you left enough room for the mouth. But I'm just going to have this mouth start up here. I'm going to mark like the sides of it, like you see on this one. I'm going to make the sides of it kind of look like a smiley mouth, and then put the tooth stuff in the middle. Okay, so you can come way up here, the smiley mouth part. And then we'll figure out the tooth thing. So I'm going to do the sides first, because I think seeing those more concretely will help me design the rest of it. And if you want like an actual template or some ideas, like drawings, but you can, I'm sure you have like an idea of how you like to do jack-o'-lanterns, and you can Google jack-o'-lanterns. You don't have to copy what I'm doing. Make this your own. Okay, so I'm making this part. You can sort of combine this whole jack-o'-lantern, carved jack-o'-lantern with the anthropomorphic one by like, you could build up a cheek here, or just even by pushing up on here. I'm kind of making the cheeks a little perked up. You don't have to make this mouth symmetrical. I'm going to do this one symmetrical. I'm kind of focused on doing the other kind asymmetrical, and this kind a little more symmetrical. It's not perfectly symmetrical, and if you can see, the teeth get a little crooked. Okay, I'm gonna it's sort of making this, it's almost a triangle again, except with this curved, this is curved up, under the cheek, and then this is curved down at the, like the bottom of the mouth is a little more curved. I'm gonna poke those under a little bit more. And have this come out a little bit more. And then you can see this is not totally even, but it doesn't need to be. So in here, we want to kind of mark a couple of teeth and go up like a up and down thing. Okay, so I'm kind of marking where I'm going to go down here, and then kind of the opposite down here. You can see on this one, this wound up with like 3 pointy teeth at the top and 2 squared off teeth at the bottom. I kind of, actually, you know what I like the idea of on this one is making these almost like, since I made that pointy, I'm gonna make these like fang, like 2 fangs kind of thing. Maybe we make this a little bit like a vampire-ish jack-o'-lantern. 2 pointy teeth at the top, and maybe that's it. I kind of want to make it a little different from my other one, so you have some options. Just putting little bits of black in there. Want any teeth at the bottom of this one, or do I really want to just emphasize these fangs that I decided on making? You can see how I'm changing my mind as I go. Lesson plan is changing. You could see how I did this one. I went up and down, across, and made these. And then here, I just made a zigzag at the top. You could do a zigzag at the bottom and the top. I was just kind of showing 2 different things. Zigzag and more little squares. So here, I did something a little different, which is instead of totally zigzagging across, I just made two pointy fang teeth. And then maybe I'll just fill in the bottom of this like a smiley face. Let's see how that looks. I can always change it. I can always add also like at the next level with if I'm not happy with this, I can use the yellow detail to make it something different, so we can do that the next time. So for now I'm just going to work on this mouth like that. And you know what, I kind of want to see if I have any orange and build up that little tooth there a little bit. I sometimes, when I carve pumpkins, that's the main box. When I carve pumpkins, I sometimes like will peel the orange off the front, and then it gets to be like a white tooth. So you could probably just put a white tooth in. I mean, maybe that would be cute too. Build this up a little bit. That's not a bad idea, because I actually, like I said, I actually do that sometimes. So I'm going to take some of this core wool. See if we can make a jack-o'-lantern with fangs. Add some white. This is not what I intended, but this is how this works. You just start doing this, and whatever you feel like doing. So I'm not going to make these, when I make the fangs for the vampire, which is in a different class, they're going to be really more 3-dimensional teeth. For this one, you can just make them kind of flat because it would be like the pumpkin. So that's cute. I'm not sure I'm happy with that nose like that, but we'll talk about that next week. I just need some more black filled in here, but I think this video has gotten long enough, and you get the idea. I still like this one better, but you can see how you could just play around with it and I wanted to, I could still rip this off and make a different nose. Like start over, patch this up with some orange and start over with that nose, okay? So you can always kind of play around and change your mind as you go. And just enjoy yourself and make it your own.